Good morning and welcome to this Sunday sermon from Holy Saviour Church in Hitchin. I'd like to read to you from the beginning of John's Gospel, chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and the life that was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning the light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light, he only came as a witness to the light. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision, or of a husband's will, but born of God. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. John testified concerning him. He cried out, saying, "This is the one I spoke about when I said, 'He who comes after me has surpassed me, because he was before me.' Out of his fullness we have all received grace in place of grace already given. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, but the one and only Son, who is himself God and is in closest relationship with the Father, has made him known." If you really want to understand and be in touch with ordinary people, you have to go where nobody recognises you. You have to see what they see and hear the things that they hear, to live what they live. Understanding it in an abstract way is different from feeling it with your whole being. And that's why God's Son became a human like us. The New Testament letter to the Hebrews says it was essential that he should in this way be made completely like his brothers and sisters. Some try to make themselves different from others by keeping apart, by adopting perhaps sort of superior attitudes, as if they weren't quite human. But Jesus, on the other hand, became like us in everything apart from our sinfulness. And so in those wonderful words of John's Gospel, the Word made flesh. The Word was made flesh and lived among us. And it's so striking that Jesus didn't come to live among the rich and the powerful and the famous. He voluntarily separated himself from the society that would be the bit of it that counts. But he lost himself, seemingly, in a very obscure little village. Nazareth was a place of the poor, of the mass of ordinary people. And his was a life made up of quite obscure human activities, simple things shared by all people. And here we see what Incarnation is all about. There is little we can say about our lives that God's Son could not say when he became a human, when he lived among us. The Gospels show us a picture of Jesus as a healer and as a teacher and as a wonder worker. But these activities only lasted about 3 years. For the rest of his life on earth, he just worked as a very ordinary village carpenter. There was nothing spectacular about his work. For the most of the time, that work must have been very, very routine. I expect it probably would have left him tired, frustrated. He didn't make benches and tables by means of miracles, but by means of a hammer and a saw. And as far as we know, nothing he made ever set any sort of great fashion trends or became collector's items. And yet he did this work faithfully until the day he heard another call. And I suppose from one point of view, these years at Nazareth might be seen as a sort of waste of precious time. But nothing could be further from the truth. Those years had huge significance for Jesus. During them, he was growing in wisdom and growing in grace. He began by doing. He lived out his message before he went around preaching the message to other people. And isn't that a great lesson for all of us? We shouldn't write off any part of our lives as meaningless or as a sense of having wasted it, because everything that we experience can give us an opportunity to grow. Life calls for a lot of waiting, a lot of very patient waiting, but we mustn't wait for something great to happen. We need to live this present moment in all its fullness, because the future is contained in the present, and the future, in a way, is a sort of blossoming of the present. Often our daily tasks do just seem rather dull and perhaps very insignificant, but we shouldn't underestimate their importance. Because though nothing great may ever happen, a kind of greatness is still open to us. To perform our ordinary work well, and to do that day in and day out, presents no small challenge to us, and in fact, you could say it calls for a kind of heroism. We must try to appreciate the value of our daily tasks. If we do them faithfully, like Jesus at Nazareth, we will grow, we will mature, we will ripen as human beings, and also of children of God. Our carol today, O little town of Bethlehem, and may God's peace go with you.